to them about is very important. So when you say talk to your kids, you also need to know what to talk to them about.
Yes.
And each child is different.
Yes, but whatever it is, when you encourage them, when you give them courage, when you affirm them, that will always help them. So we always let the parents know your youth love you, but they don't know how to voice it. But you as an adult is different. Okay, you have the choice, you can voice it out. So we teach them, we coach them. How can you share your love in a manner that when your youth receive it, that is love?
Okay, one example of how they can share their love.
Well, very simple. Even simple things like, okay, this is something we always do. We encourage parents that you don't focus so much on the results and outcomes, but the efforts. So it could be as simple as, something, I could see your effort, okay, in putting towards this examination. Now, the results, honestly, not that important, but it's the effort that I want to let you know. I see it and I appreciate it. I tell you, I really am quite confident. When you say this more often, you affirm them. Trust me, I think you will want to do better next time. Yeah.
And you've got to do all of these things before they reach teenhood, right? So don't panic when they reach 13. Now, one more thing. You mentioned earlier that, even though you shouldn't be watching your teen like a hawk, you can supervise them. I also know of parents who feel like it's okay for them to search their teenager's room to find out what they're up to, look for clues to find out what they're up to and things like that. What's your advice to parents who do such things? Because I think that only makes the relationship worse. When your teen finds out that you've been looking through his stuff, it just makes it worse.
I really would encourage parents not to do it. Now, I know it's
So when you say supervise, what do you mean?
I think, you see, of course, for parents who have to do it, usually we will have to find out the underlying reason. Is it because there is a lack of trust, or is it because something has triggered and then the trust is so-called broken? So you see, then we have to tackle the root of the issue, mend that trust first. Because what you are doing is not helpful, because you're feeding to that notion, to the youth to believe it's okay, whatever I do, my parent will still do. They still don't trust me. So why bother to improve? So it's not helpful. After a while, we are feeding on to that vicious cycle. Yeah. So usually for us, we really want to find out the root of the issue. What happened? And then we resolve that first before we move on. But in the meantime, for parents, if let's say there isn't any big issue or whatsoever, it's really more for your security reasons, then really try not to do it, because it is not helpful. And then
Now,
in case of supervision, I think it's important to give parameters, giving clear guidelines. But you see, sometimes allow them to make mistakes here and there. But if you have a clear guidelines, like certain things you can do, certain things you cannot do, if sometimes they border on the grey areas, it's really okay.
Yeah,
because
so
this is
give
also
and take.
towards their path of independence. Sometimes
And
they want to be
let them learn, let them make mistakes and learn.
Yes.
One last thing, you mentioned going for counseling. I know parents might be more willing to go for counseling, but teenagers don't even want to sit down and have a meal with you. They wouldn't even go for counseling with you. So how do you convince a teenager that, we need help in our relationship, come with me for counseling?
Okay, this is when you see, of course we encourage as far as possible voluntary kind of involvement.